season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Parkville Network.
Well, all right.
Just like last Monday, we had a host of a podcast we're very proud of, Hollywood Raw Podcast, Dax Holt, on with us. And he's with us today. JT's still at her house in Jack quarantine, and Dax at his house like he always is because he's not even close to us. He's in California. And dude, you like Jill and I look like we are 3 knuckles deep in quarantine. You are like, you look like you got more fit. You got the scruff. You're tan.
Hair looks great. Everything
It's
looks
BS.
Quarantine in California is just very different, you guys.
Is it?
Very, very different.
Quarantine means something completely different?
The truth of it is, the reason I have sun is because I have to get out of my house. I have to go outside, take the kids outside.
Yeah.
To not be cooped up in here anymore. So it's like, the second they are done with school, we are like, okay, let's go outside. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a bike ride. Let's go for a scooter ride.
Just do
let's
something.
go look for snails. Let's go hike up a hill. Like, I don't care. Just get me outside.
You know, another podcast that we produce, and I know you've listened to some of his episodes, it's Nick Baugh, and he was talking about how his Mava, his 3-year-old, he goes, I'm her only playmate. I'm her teacher. I'm her everything. And he goes, I'm running out of games. We played a game called Throw Stuff yesterday. He goes, we just threw stuff. Like, there's nothing else to do. What else do you do?
Oh my God.
I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted on Instagram of my dog's face covered in like marker.
Yes.
But because it got to the point where we were doing my daughter's hair with these like chalk pens that color her hair. And then it was like, okay, now we do my son's hair. Okay, time to do the dog's hair. Like, we have nothing to do, you guys. We're so bored.
Oh my God. I know it. I don't know. Is my microphone working?
Yeah, yours sound fine.
That's so weird. It sounds weird to me. Never mind. It's fine. Anyway, cool. No, I did not get a chance to see that one yet. I'll have to look that one up. But
It's
I can
hilarious.
totally relate. It's like you need something else different to do. People are trying to figure out something to do to get them out of the madness.
And we had our kids' school did a drive-by of all the teachers. So the teachers went on parade around
that's
the
cool.
neighborhoods, hit up at everyone's houses. We waved. And as they're driving by, like, take them with you. Please. Take my children. Please.
I saw somebody posted the other day something about when the kids go back to school, just a prayer for the teachers. Could you throw in a couple of cuss words every once in a while so they can make that transition easily because they're getting used to it? And I was like, I bet they've heard some things they've never heard before.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was also a funny meme that I read that was like, if you see my child with his backpack on standing at your doorstep, don't bother because he's just a foreign exchange student.
People are losing their minds, man. I know.
I think so. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is God. How is the schooling going? Do you think I guarantee my kids are sliding backwards. How are yours?
My wife is on top of it, so I think my kids are doing really well. I think for my daughter, this one-on-one is actually really helping her out.
Yeah.
Because she's like me, and a butterfly goes flying by and she's like, ooh, pretty thing.
Right.
And can't focus.
Yeah.
So I think having someone there all the time is really good for her. My son, he goes into kindergarten next year, so we're trying to get him ready. So I think he's getting a lot of one-on-one time. But I'm watching some of the other kids in her class, and I'm thinking, I don't know if your parents are spending as much time or can't spend as much time. And it makes me really wonder what next year is going to be like. Like, are there going to be a lot of kids behind? Are there going to be kids that just their parents didn't have the time? They were too essential workers and the kid was at home. And so it's like, good luck getting your homework done. I don't know. What
I think like. Some of the people are saying their kids, they saw them like thrive on the online work, that they were almost like, finally, they just to get to do the work because the school part bores them. Yeah. And then other kids are really missing that interaction with people. Yeah. So I'm sure it will be really complicated when the kids go back for the teachers to get everybody sorted out and figure out, okay, who's excelled and who, I don't know if and you wonder too, because it's hard enough when they have the summer off. Yeah. You wonder playing catch up to get back going the next year, but this is a whole nother ball.
And even if you don't have, if you have parents that are essential employees, if you have parents that are home that are teachers, I'm not a teacher. Parents aren't. I mean, you're not trained to be. I don't have the patience to be. I could teach other kids, probably have more patience with other children than you do your own children. So, like parents just aren't meant to be teachers. So it's, even if they're home all the time, it could be messing some stuff up. They're trying.
What I never really thought about was all the parents that are actual teachers and they have to teach a whole class and somehow teach their own kids. I'm like, oh God, how are you getting through this right now?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's got to be just crazy for them. Did you see the video of the teacher who she posted the song for all the other teachers? No. And she wrote this little song and she has this little intro and she's playing her little ukulele and it's really nice and soothing. It's about 20 seconds of the ukulele. She takes a deep breath and just screams. And I'm like, and you think it's going to be this nice, this is for all the teachers that are teaching your children online. And thank you so much for what you do. Plays and this. It's a scream. I was like, that was hilarious. I loved it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So Dax, you guys, well, just like we said last week, right click, copy, paste about your podcast, Hollywood Raw podcast, 2 in a row have, more than that. Well, 3 in a row have done really, really well. The one with Heather McDonald last week took off again as well. It was awesome. Way to go.
It's crazy. I mean, the podcast is just doing well. I think people are relating to it. I think that they like all of this like insider Hollywood news that we're kind of bringing to them, because that's what we keep trying to tell people. This is not just like, we're not just reporting on celebs or like what they're doing, but we're talking to them and we're getting deep inside what it's really like to be a celebrity, or what it's like to date as a celebrity, what it's like to deal with paparazzi, what it's like to, I mean, just all these different angles. And people are like, I think it's almost normalizing celebs. And I think that's why people like it so much. And the Heather McDonald one did well. She actually, she lost 2 of her friends that were on, not like death or anything, just can't talk to them anymore, but 2 of her friends that are Real Housewives of Orange County, she's involved in a lawsuit and she can't speak to them anymore. And we bring that up and she starts crying on the podcast about how she's like, this is real for me. Like I can't talk to my friends anymore because of a lawsuit that someone brought up against me. And so her getting all emotional on the podcast obviously made news. And then, I think we talked about the Bryce interview, Hirschberg, he's the guy from Too Hot to Handle on Netflix, which that show has blown up over the last week. Everyone's talking about it. These Netflix shows do really, really well. And him talking about how producers kept an eye on them the whole time, because the whole premise behind this dating show is they're not allowed to kiss. They're not allowed to have sex. They're not allowed to touch themselves, essentially, because you're supposed to find a deeper connection with the other person, not just a physical connection with the other person. And so we're talking to Bryce. We're like, well, how the heck are producers going to know if you're doing some of those extra activities by yourself when you step into the bathroom or whatever? And he said, no, they had CCTV cameras on us in the bathroom.
Unreal.
No.
Unbelievable. So, I mean, that everyone started freaking out. That show's so big right now. So that made headlines everywhere. Cosmo, TMZ, Daily Mail. I mean, just everyone picked up on that story. So our podcast has been getting a lot of hits right now.
Yeah, you've been doing well. Want to take a second to thank American Heart Association for being a supporter of our podcast.
Absolutely. Really proud to be working with them and passing along some good information. Would you recognize the most common signs of a stroke? They're important to know.
Just remember, FAST. Face, arms, speech, and time. FAST.
Exactly. If one side of their face droops when they smile, if they can't keep both arms raised in the air, or their speech is slurred or strange, or you see any of those signs, call 911 immediately.
When it comes to a stroke, every second counts. My grandfather had a stroke, and I realized that, and they got to him in time, and it helped.
It's all in just the simplest thing. Remember, FAST. Face, arms, speech, time.
Visit heart.org to learn more about how to prevent a stroke and recognizing the warning signs of a stroke. Who do you have in your sights, like for, maybe people you're reaching out to, waiting to hear back from? Like who's on your list?
Well, I can tell you one of the people that we have on that's really fascinating that are not a lot of American people may not know, but she's going to be on the podcast next week. Her name is Sunny Leone. And interesting enough,
Oh my God, I know who that is.
Do you really?
I do. I've just read an article about her last week. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm like, oh my
Well,
God.
I was going to say some Americans know her because she was a former porn star. So is that how you know her?
That's what it is.
Nope. Sorry.
That's
nope.
what it
That
is.
not-
So she was actually
Busted.
she was a pretty well-known adult film star here in America for a very long time. However, she is now gone to India and she is a massive Bollywood star. Massive. She does a lot of hosting of TV shows over there. She's become crazy famous. I mean, the woman has like 100 million followers on all her social media combined. Like, she's that famous. And so we had a really interesting talk with her that we're going to release. And it's funny how her husband runs her account. And one of the things that she copped up to saying, she goes, yeah, because I have an adult film past, a lot of people think that they can just send me photos of themselves because I will just appreciate that. She goes, the funny thing that these guys don't realize is that my husband runs my account. So when you send a pic of your privates, it goes to my husband. It doesn't go to me.
That's brilliant of her.
I love that. That's awesome. That is hilarious.
Yes, that is
I'm trying to remember. I was trying to find the article that I read about her, but it was more about the acting side, the real acting side. But I can't find it now. But either way, that'll be interesting. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
I want to crash our servers here at Parkville, so ask her to just share it ask her husband to share the podcast.
Trust me.
Because
Trust me. That is in the works.
Okay, yeah. I want the building to burn
she
down.
She really does. She's kind of like, I'm trying to relate her to someone. I mean, like a Paris Hilton, or like a socialite. She's a big deal over in India. That she gets papped everywhere she goes. And she's like, I really haven't been interviewed by an American outlet in a very long time. She's like, you guys are one of the first in a very long time, because again, she's just so famous over there, but that doesn't always translate. Bollywood actors and actresses don't always translate here in America.
Mm-hmm.
True.
That's probably true. That's funny. When you said that story, it made me think, not to get off topic, but about when, was it the mayor of New York or the governor of New York that did the deal where they said you wanted people to tell on each other if they weren't doing their social distancing? And he threw out a phone number and said, just take a picture and send it in to us and then tell us the location and we'll take care of it. That's not the kind of pictures he got.
I bet. I mean, what does he think is going to happen? He didn't learn. He didn't learn his lesson. Not his lesson, but the Bodie McBoderson
from my clothes.
That's right. Yep.
Like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. I can only imagine what she gets in her inbox. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Oh my
so
God.
She was talking all about it.
Who else? Who else are you guys targeting, like down the road?
We've got one of the massive winners of AGT, Shin Lim. He's going to be on soon enough. And he's won AGT twice. He won one for his season, and then he came back and won the champion season. But he's like the really good magician, now has a residency out in Vegas. So we're having him on. Oh, God, we have a big lineup right now. I'm trying to remember all the people that we have coming on.
Now, do you have people helping you book things?
Yes. Me and Adam. No, the other guy that we are having on is a former bodyguard for like Kim and Kanye.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So he's definitely got good stories. Not only did he work for Kim and Kanye, he also worked for, oh God, let me remember the list here. He's worked for everyone. Leonardo DiCaprio for a long time. Oh God, I can't remember all the names, but like some of the
huge, big names,
top stars out there. Alanis Morissette, when she was like in her cream, like top of her game. But Leo, I mean, he was literally with Leo like right after Titanic.
That's huge. I love hearing stories, behind the scenes stories from bodyguards, especially.
Okay, so as a bodyguard, did they have to like sign an NDA and all this other stuff? I mean, like once he's on a podcast like this, but does he still do this now? Does he still a bodyguard now?
No, now he's an actor. Now he's a director, producer, doing a bunch of other gigs. But it was very different years ago. Back during the Leo time, if you were a cool guy and Leo liked you, you could be the bodyguard. now it's very different. Now it's like background. I don't want to say background check, but like NDAs, make sure you're not going to say something. Like it's just a different.
And they probably go through firms, companies that specifically are for celebrity bodyguards too.
But he worked with Pascal, which was Kim and Kanye's bodyguard, the one that kind of like was the scapegoat after the France armed robbery.
Oh yeah.
But he knew Pascal really well. I mean, real fascinating guy, I tell you. So definitely tune into that one when we release it.
So yeah, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and rate and review. And you guys were top. I forget the number off the top of my head, but in Apple Podcasts, you guys were right up there, like way up there.
Top 20 for entertainment news.
Yeah, which is huge.
Wow. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, you guys. Congratulations to you too.
It's really cool. Your podcast has just been killing it. And Schick and Nick, which is another podcast that we have, it was killing it in the sports category. Was like top 3, I think,
awesome.
After it debuted. And it's like, it's so exciting.
It's just fun really for us. Yeah, we love doing it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I think having you guys back us is just changed a lot for us. I mean, we're on all the platforms now, being able to find us on iHeart and Spotify or Lipson or wherever we are at. I feel like we're everywhere now. Right. Everywhere I look, I'm like, oh my God, we're there. So
yeah, you guys just had such a great one before, but you had a great podcast before. It's just you didn't have anybody really helping you that kind of knew what they were doing. So we're like, man, you guys, they're just throwing this content out there and nobody's hearing it.
You guys have the content. You shouldn't have to worry about all that other crap. We'll take care of the crap.
We need more listeners. And what I really need from people is to leave reviews. I didn't realize how important that was before. And if someone just goes down and puts the 5-star, I mean, it really helps your ranking on iTunes. So like I'm asking people, please give us a ranking, give us a 5-star review. If it's a 4-star, don't do it. Just send it to me on Twitter. Tell me how much I suck.
Right.
But if it's 5-star, leave it on iTunes.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's really, really important. And it can change everything as far as your availability to people when they're searching out that kind of content. Because, when people listen to you and they listen to you religiously, like your listeners are, they want to help you and they want to see you succeed. And sometimes they just, you forget that you need to go back and review. Hell, I forget when I'm listening to a podcast I like to go back and review it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Have you guys reviewed the Hollywood Raw podcast?
I believe so. I think I may have been one of the first ones. I don't remember for sure.
All right.
I know I gave you a 5-star. I think I reviewed you. I better go check now. Crap.
I double check, right?
Yeah. Dang it.
Like every one of the podcasts that we have right
now. My goal is we need to get to number 1 in entertainment news. I think it's obtainable. So I want to make it happen.
Okay.
I think it is. I think you can do it. Yep. Absolutely. You guys are a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
So it's Hollywood Raw.
You know who else we had talked to?
Who?
Was the current husband of Joe Exotic on Tiger King.
Oh, really?
Dylan Passage.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Talk to him. So I think that episode will also be going out soon. Guys, we have so much in the can right now. I am like, this quarantine has been like good and bad because we have so much time that we're focusing all of it. But then we have so much content. We're like, when do we put it all out? And then Pat's like, I can't edit it all. So stop sending it to me.
I see an email from Dax with a Weave transfer link. I'm like, oh,
here we go.
Here's another one.
I was just talking to Pat about this the other day when you did the one, I can't say her name now, that was crying.
Heather McDonald.
Yes, that was so weird because it was really quiet in the studio and nobody was in there, just me and Pat, and he's in his office and I was in mine. And I was at that time absolutely losing my mind because I was buried in a spreadsheet, the bank crap, right? Yeah. And I'm not that person, but I was trying. All of a sudden I hear a woman crying coming from the back room. And I'm like,
and you're like, Pat, keep it down.
Are you okay, buddy?
Is he watching a sad movie?
Oh my God. I know you have to edit these podcasts that Dex keeps sending over, but pull it together, bud.
And it was so funny.
It was
I'm like,
funny.
Who's crying?
And the difference about like you had said back at the beginning of this episode where you were talking about how your podcast is different because you guys, it's conversation. It's not like 10-minute where they have a producer there and you have certain questions to ask and it's on you could tell because the audio that was sent over from Heather was actually audio and a video. I don't know if you knew that or not of her. Like what? So seeing her, it like literally in her room at her desk in sweatpants, having a conversation with you guys. That's how people like that, they get more vulnerable because they're in their own house. They're not surrounded by a ton of people. It was very evident by that, the video specifically.
And I think that, like, number one, I got to give major credit to my co-host, Adam. He comes up with the best questions. Like, he's been a paparazzi in New York for years and years and years. I'm sorry. He likes to call himself, what is it? A street journalist?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
That sounds cool.
But he's been a street journalist in New York for years. And I just, the questions, they're unique. They're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And they always get every guest we have goes, that's a really great question to him every time.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're different from a lot of the other interviews that they do. So they do open up to us and they have a good time. And I think we have good energy. So it brings out the best of some of these celebs. And then sometimes it brings out tears.
Yeah.
It is. It's like a perfect storm. It really is. I mean, you get the vulnerability, but you guys handle it well. And that's what's key. So good job.
Nice job, guys.
Thanks.
Well, thanks, Dax.
Thank you.
So Hollywood Raw podcast, search it, and we're working on all the stuff behind the scenes to try to get it so you can search your names, whatever. All those pieces are coming into place. So we're getting that, but go to iTunes, anywhere, Spotify, and search Hollywood Raw podcast and you'll find it.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dax.
You guys.
You got it. We'll see you, buddy. Appreciate it. Okay, so it's also, you can go to our website, parkvillemedia.com, and the link is also there to Dax's website, or his website, his podcast. Thank you for listening to our podcast. It's Pat and JT.